And now for a Next News special report.
Is the White House hiding a shocking secret about President Biden? House GOP leaders are making explosive claims that could rock the foundation of our government. You'll see exclusive footage of top Republicans dropping bombshells about Biden's fitness for office, plus a surprise Democrat expert's jaw-dropping diagnosis that you will not believe. So stay tuned for video evidence that might change everything you thought you knew about our commander-in-chief. And don't miss our earth-shattering final thought. It's a wake-up call every American needs to hear. Now, folks, just like the White House might be hiding the truth about Biden, your power company, well, they might be hiding the real energy cost of usage. With 20 million households behind on power bills, it's time to uncover the truth. That's why I've been slashing my energy bills with this amazing little device. It stops unnecessary energy waste, reduces usage, and extends appliance life. Don't let greedy utilities or secretive administrations keep you in the dark. Get a 60-day risk-free trial, 65% off and free shipping at don'twastepower.com. Beat the cover-ups in Washington and your energy bill. Order now at don'twastepower.com. So, we've got some breaking news tonight as House GOP leaders drop a bombshell declaring President Biden unfit for office and alleging a massive cover-up of his mental state. This explosive story is sending shockwaves through Washington, so let's dig right in with Representative Elise Stefanik's opening salvo at today's press conference. Watch.
There is no longer any doubt that Joe Biden is unfit to be our commander-in-chief. The Biden White House, far-left House Democrats, and the mainstream media are in complete disarray because they know this to be true and have been caught participating in one of the greatest media cover-ups in American history. For the last 3.5 years, House Republicans and the American people have been demanding details about Joe Biden's mental and physical decline. But every time we raise these legitimate concerns, far-left Democrats and their loyal stenographers in the mainstream media rushed to Biden's defense, claiming that the clearly diminished Joe Biden was as sharp as ever and accusing us of peddling conspiracy theories. The cover-up is over and accountability is here. For years, House Republicans have known that Joe Biden is unfit for office. We also know that he will go to any lengths to maintain his grip on power. This is why it is so crucial that we take every possible measure to ensure that the 2024 presidential election is free from election interference and is constitutional.
Stefanik's words are a direct challenge to the White House and mainstream media, but she's not alone in her concerns. Congressman Chip Roy weighed in on the integrity of our elections, linking it to the broader issue of Biden's competence. Watch.
Our Democrat colleagues, in particular the president, yesterday in his statement of administration policy, take a different view. They don't believe that we should require only citizens vote. Our legislation is very simple. It's already unlawful, as our Democratic colleagues like to point out, for non-citizens to vote. But unfortunately, we don't have a mechanism for ensuring that that is the case because the courts have interpreted the law to prevent that. So our legislation simply fixes that. Our legislation provides for ample avenues for American citizens to be able to vote. In no way will Americans' right to vote be hampered, but instead we will ensure the integrity of our elections by requiring that we have documentary proof of citizenship to vote.
Now, Roy's comments raise serious questions about the connection between election integrity and leadership capability. But the GOP isn't stopping there. Another Republican lawmaker went even further, accusing Democrats of twisting themselves into pretzels to explain away Biden's performance. Watch.
It's a big week for House Democrats. They have to figure out what they're going to do about Joe Biden, who recently proved to the world what Republicans have been saying now for years. He's not fit to be president. And they have to twist themselves into a pretzel to explain why they're advocating for letting illegal immigrants vote in our elections. Let us be clear. Only American citizens should have a say in American elections. It's sad that today's Democrat Party has gone so far that this needs to be clarified. No amount of spin changes the fact that Congressman Chip Roy's SAVE Act, which I'm proud to co-sponsor, is simple. It protects American citizens' right to vote by requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration and the removal of non-citizens from voter rolls. Safeguarding our elections should not be a partisan issue. But the Democrats are hell-bent on making it one because it's part of their grand design. First, Joe Biden and the Democrats allowed over 10 million illegal immigrants to invade our country. Now they're opposing efforts to prevent these illegals from voting in federal elections. Don't just take my word for it. Democrats' House leadership has launched a united effort against the SAVE Act.
These statements are part of a coordinated effort by House Republicans to bring this issue to the forefront. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise didn't pull any punches either. Watch.
It's interesting to watch the Democrats right now expressing disdain over Joe Biden's performance at the debate. Let's be clear, first of all, the reason so many people are recognizing that Joe Biden did so poorly is because President Trump did so well in the debate. President Trump actually articulated how we can get this country back on track, how we can get back to a place where under President Trump we had a secure border that we no longer have. We had low interest rates where people, a first-time home buyer, could actually afford to go buy their first home, which we don't have today. You could go to the grocery store and actually buy all the things you needed for your family and still have a little money left over to fill up your car because gasoline was less than $2 a gallon. President Trump knows we can get back to those days, and that's what President Trump talked about. And then the President Biden that so many people saw, frankly, is the same Joe Biden that we've been seeing for the last 3.5 years. The White House has been trying to cover up for a lot of his failures. But everybody up here in this town that's interacted with the president has known for years that this is the Joe Biden that we've all seen. And then the whole American public got to see it on display at the debate. In fact, if you go down the hall right now, the Democrats are literally behind closed doors talking about jettisoning, throwing out the votes of 14 million Democrat primary voters who chose Joe Biden to be their nominee. Think about that. The party that loves lecturing people about democracy is in a smoke-filled room trying to throw out the democratically chosen nominee for president by the Democrat voters. 14 million of them said they want Joe Biden to be their nominee, and Democrats are openly talking about discarding all of those votes and picking somebody else behind closed doors. No wonder when you look at all the Democrats that are abandoning Joe Biden, that he opposes a bill that says illegals can't vote. I guess he's looking for additional votes since he doesn't have his own party's votes anymore. But passing the SAVE Act is important to ensure the integrity of the vote.
Scalise's comparison of Biden's debate performance to Trump's is telling, but it's Speaker Johnson's words that really drive the point home. Watch.
Democrats, our colleagues, for 3.5 years have been covering up this glaring problem. The staff in the White House have been covering it up, and so have the Democrats in Congress. Just last month, I brought a couple of examples. Representative Dan Goldman said Biden was sharper than anyone he'd spoken to and that he has, quote, a photographic memory, unquote. Representative Eric Swalwell said that Biden put many of us to shame with his energy. I mean, there are example after example after example, leading Democrats and noteworthy Democrats on the Hill who have not been in the dark about this. They've been saying things I think most of them understand is simply not true, and they've misled the American people. And this is dangerous. We have the NATO summit going on, the 75th anniversary of NATO here, all of our guests from around the world. What we're projecting from the White House is not strength right now, at a very dangerous time around the world. And that's why the American people are so alarmed by this. That's why the polls say that most of the Americans, people understand that Joe Biden is not fit for that office. And it's a terrible thing. The Democrats have misled us, and they need to be held accountable for that. They've also been misleading everybody about the SAVE Act, which will be on the floor that you've heard about this morning. It's a very important piece of legislation. They're claiming to oppose the bill because they say it's going to make it harder to vote, but they know that that is not true. Many of the Democrats want all of these illegals to participate in our federal elections. They want them to vote.
There's no other conclusion that you can draw. When the White House announced they would veto the bill, they effectively handed our elections over to all of these illegal aliens that have come here. And the number is far greater than what is being reported.
Johnson's accusation of a cover-up by Democrats in Congress is a serious charge, but the most shocking development comes from an unexpected source. Dr. Tom Pitts, a Parkinson's expert and lifelong Democrat, has made a stunning claim about Biden's health. In an explosive interview with NBC News, Dr. Pitts left no room for doubt. Watch.
You noticed anything that gives you a red flag as a doctor?
Oh, yeah, I see him 20 times a day in clinic. I mean, it's ironic because he has just such classic features of neurodegeneration. I mean, word finding difficulties, and that's not, oh, I couldn't find the word. That's from degeneration of the word retrieval area.
He's also overcome stuttering, though. Could that be part of that, too?
No, this is not a palatal issue or a speech discrepancy, which is very different from a lemmonode dysfunction, actual word retrieval, where you pick a similar question or talk around the issue, plus the rigidity, monotone voice.
Wait, go back to that, the rigidity. What do you mean?
Rigidity, loss of arm swing, standing up lordotically. You notice when he turns, it's kind of end block turning. It's not a quick turn. So that's one of the hallmarks of Parkinsonism is rigidity and bradykinesia, slow movement. And he has that hallmark, especially with the low voice that said was a cold, hypophonia. A small monotone voice like this over time is a hallmark of Parkinsonism. I could have diagnosed him from across the mall.
Here are some of the symptoms from Parkinson's. We just had him up there on the screen. If we can put him back. What about the movement? Some people have pointed out the way he walks. Sometimes it's not very fast, small steps. Is that something that is common in people who are battling a disease like Parkinson's?
Yeah, it's a hallmark. Shuffling gait, we call that, so little steps. Loss of arm swing from the rigidity. When we walk, we have a nice cadence. You notice he doesn't really swing his arms. And end block turning, meaning he kind of pivots around his foot. If you said, hey, President Biden, he wouldn't go like this. So, yeah.
But I also know, and tell me if I'm wrong here, it's very hard to diagnose Parkinson's, isn't it? It's not simple. I mean, I've heard that it can be.
It's one of the easier movement disorders to diagnose, actually.
Right,
but it's so clinic. There's very little other. And I'm a Democrat. I always say about this.
Right.
It's just like this guy is not a hard case.
But I've had relatives who have gone through neurological issues, and I've heard that sometimes Parkinson's is not very easy to nail. You have to take a lot of tests.
It's early on. If you're just presented with like hallucinations, that could be a variety of things, or just the cognitive problems. That could be Alzheimer's versus Parkinsonism, and that becomes a little nebulous. But once you start manifesting the hallmark motor symptoms,
right,
slow movement, rigidity, mass facies, hypophonia. I mean, if a med student did not pick Parkinson's on the test, they'd be remediated.
So let me ask you, you're a Democrat, you're a doctor. You sound like you're frustrated with what the White House is saying.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because, I'm an American before everything. And I look at it and say, when I used to see Russia, Soviet Union, North Korea, when they just make outrageous things, like when North Korea can't keep the lights on and they say, oh, it was some faulty power thing. I kind of hate that kind of stuff. They had 4 years. My own party had 4 years to find, this was a wreck in slow motion. And they had 4 years to find out of 350 Americans, one person that could take the place. And here we are the day before school trying to do the homework and replace a guy who's got a neurodegenerative disease.
Dr. Pitt.
Wow. Dr. Pitt's diagnosis, if accurate, could have far-reaching implications for the presidency and the nation. The White House, for its part, insists that they've been transparent about the president's health. State Department spokesman Matt Miller had this to say.
As you know, the Wall Street Journal is now reporting that back in June of 2022, Secretary of State Blinken went to a meeting with the German chancellor instead of President Biden, saying the president had to go to bed. You denied that, but can you say the Biden administration has been fully transparent about the toll the president's age is apparently taking?
Of course we have been, and I can tell you with respect to that report, it was absolutely not true.
Wow. Miller's assurance of transparency stands in stark contrast to the allegations that we've heard tonight. The question remains, who is telling the truth? These revelations come at a critical time with the NATO summit underway and global tensions on the rise. The strength of American leadership has never been more crucial. As the story continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the American people deserve answers. The integrity of our highest office and the safety of our republic depends on it. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. The allegations from GOP leadership in Dr. Pitt's bombshell diagnosis paint a disturbing picture. If true, we are facing a crisis of leadership that threatens the very foundation of our republic. And the SAVE Act isn't just about election integrity. It's about ensuring we have a competent commander-in-chief. Americans deserve the truth about Biden's mental state. This isn't about politics. It's about national security. We must demand transparency and accountability. Our future as a free nation may depend on it.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.